Hey, good evening to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your late evening update here on Hurricane Laura. It is now 11 o'clock in the Central Time Zone, 12 o'clock, now August 26th, Eastern Time. We're going to talk about Laura here, what's happening now, what to expect over the next 24 hours. We should have landfall within that 24-hour, maybe 30-hour time frame. The very bad news is it looks like it's going to make landfall at night. And that's a really big problem. That's a very frightening experience that people are going to have to go through. So let's address that and much more in tonight's look at what's going on. First of all, the National Hurricane Center homepage. I just want to point out a couple of things. Try to be as helpful as I can with some of this information for you. If you want to know what's happening in your local area, this is the guide to you. These are the weather forecast offices, the WFOs, that will be affected by Laura. The New Orleans, Baton Rouge area, Lake Charles, Houston, Galveston, and Shreveport. So that's a pretty large area through here up to Shreveport, Louisiana included. So you click on these and you get local information. See? Click on it and bam, you get their products page, threats and impacts, local products, etc. Very, very good information. Another way that you can get here and find really helpful info on your area is through weather.gov. You can go in and you can type, for example, Winnie, Texas. That's where I am, right there, Winnie, Texas. By the way, I'm in Winnie, Texas. And you can read these things right here. That's the key. I'm telling you how you can find this stuff out, all right? So take advantage of that. Hurricane, storm surge warning. But this hurricane local statement, lots of great info. What to expect. Here's the situation overview, the impacts, and I really encourage you to read this. It is written by the people in your local area. It's not from Washington, D.C. or some other federal agency far, far away. It's your area, all right? So read it and understand it. There's lots of great info. The hurricane local statement, big, big, big product for you. And then when you're looking at the advisories for these systems, the public advisory. And let's just look at this real quick. Wind now at 90 miles per hour. The pressure down to 978 millibars. All right. And we see that it is moving towards the west-northwest still at 17 miles per hour. So a pretty good clip. And then you can look at the summary of watches and warnings, etc. But I want you to scroll down and read this hazards affecting land portion of the public advisory. This part right here is what I am most concerned about. Storm surge at night is very, very dangerous to screw with. Seriously. Media, other storm chasers, especially people that are just starting out, or those that think that they are going to try to get that money shot. Or people that aren't evacuating. Maybe they don't understand. Maybe they don't believe it. Maybe they have distrust of public officials or something. This is not something to try to second guess, especially at night. There's no way to know exactly how much storm surge is going to be occurring at your place. The shape of the coastline, how deep, shallow the water is, the way the hurricane comes in, there's a lot of different factors. But generally speaking, what we're looking at is from Intracoastal City, hold on, let me start over. From Searim State Park, Texas, all right, to Intracoastal City, Louisiana, including Sabine Lake and Calcasieu, I think that's how you say it, Lake, 9 to 14 feet. That's a lot of dadgum water, seriously. Intracoastal City to Morgan City, 7 to 11, including Vermilion Bay. Port Bolivar, 6 to 9, and we can read these. And even all the way over to the mouth of the Mississippi to Ocean Springs, including Lake Bourne, 2 to 4, Lake Pontchartrain, and Lake Maurepas, 2 to 4. So this storm surge deal is really, really serious right here. Please heed these warnings. Water rising, stuff floating in it, animals, insects, chemicals, other junk, battering, banging around, especially at night. You don't want to mess with this, seriously. So the storm surge is my number one concern. The other hazards, rainfall in here, not too bad. This is going to move on pretty quickly, but still 5 to 10 inches, some areas 2 to 4. And these hazards, hurricane winds, obviously hurricane force wind with hurricanes, right? Who would have known? And then the tornado threat. We need to think about that. A few tornadoes are expected Wednesday evening into Wednesday night over Louisiana, far southeast Texas, and southwestern Mississippi. And that should continue into Thursday across Louisiana, Arkansas, and western Mississippi. And then the threat of large swells. Another way to visualize all of this is in the, let's go back to the home page here. You click on Hurricane Laura. All these graphics in here. If you don't want to read all that, well, you click on the peak surge part, and you get an idea. The 9 to 14 feet, this area to Sea Rim State Park. 3 to 5 feet down here. I mean, they've made it as easy as possible. This is a huge area that could be expecting damaging, life-threatening storm surge. But it is highly dependent upon exactly where the center, the radius of maximum winds, that core, moves ashore, and then to the right of that, to the east of that, is generally where the worst surge is. So if the center of Laura moves up something like this, as an example, then everywhere to the right of that center would experience the worst of the surge. That onshore flow with the wind blowing onshore, rushing in very fast, especially with that core, could be incredibly damaging. Holly Beach, Cameron, these are places that we have put our instrumentation to capture what's going on. If we're putting our cameras there, that's a big problem. Vermilion Bay over here, Sycamore Point as an example. Avery Island, 7 to 11 feet, that is nothing to take lightly. And then all the way over here, 4 to 6 feet possibly. We even have a camera down in Grand Isle. We set it up for Marco, and now it's going to be valid here and applicable for Laura. So the storm surge is a huge, huge issue. That's what I'm worried about in terms of killing people. We just have to respect that. Then you got wind speeds, all kinds of stuff, the key messages. It's all right here for you. Flash flooding potential. Red is bad, generally speaking. And this is going to impact a large area overall. Slight to moderate risk of flooding. Okay, so take all of this into consideration. And these are the different time periods through Thursday, through Friday. Through Friday morning, that red area up into Arkansas. So many, many hazards associated with Laura. And you must try to comprehend that and say to yourself, what do I have to expect here from Laura, from this hurricane? Don't think about Ike and Rita and any other hurricane in the past that you might have survived. Look at this one and look at what the statistics are in terms of what they're forecasting and try to visualize that happening to you. You need to in this situation, because the number one goal of me is to keep you alive first. If we keep you alive, that's I succeed. If your property is destroyed, look, it's hard. I understand. I've never had to go through that, but I've known people personally that have, and I have total empathy for what you might have to go through. And it is hard. But you know what? Let's keep you alive first and foremost. This is going to move inland. This is the next 3 days. This gives you an idea of where. And it's more than likely now going to make landfall probably just east of the Sabine River area. And this is not good for this area of Louisiana. It really isn't. And we're going to hightail it out of Winnie over here and get back down to the coast of Louisiana and focus all of our firepower on that area. Maybe putting some equipment up here inland. We'll see. We got a lot of work to do tomorrow too. Look at that big wind field. And that's the other thing you need to understand. The wind is going to start picking up during the day tomorrow to tropical storm force. When this orange area reaches the coast, your time is pretty much up. And then that's the hurricane force wind area. It's not particularly large, but it's large enough. And Laura is not done strengthening. It could get stronger in the overnight hours. So the clock is ticking. You must be prepared. And then I need you folks inland. to be ready for this. Away from the coast, all up through here, you could have some pretty negative impacts deep into Louisiana, in through Arkansas, the Ozarks and beyond, spreading into Missouri. Deborah, one of our longtime supporters, Deborah Clifton, I'm talking to you. This could be a big problem for your area in Cape Girardeau. I'm sure you're still there. I think so. I forgot to show the 5-day. I wanted to pull that up. And then beyond the 3-day, I could have just clicked on that, whatever. Beyond the 3-day, yeah, it's going to move as a remnant low depression through Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, and then finally offshore and become a powerful storm system even in the western and northwestern Atlantic, where water temperatures are very warm up here. But luckily for land interest, this will be mainly a shipping problem. So this has the potential of being a very big impact storm for Houston and Galveston and Beaumont, Winnie, probably looking a lot better. Not so much Port Arthur yet, but Lake Charles, Louisiana, but we'll get to that in a minute. But for you in Harris County, you're looking a lot better. The Woodlands, Galveston, Pearland, Sugar Land, you guys, we got lucky this time because this could have been an economic absolute uppercut. I mean, really, cut us off at the knees, punch you up in the chin, you name it. Of all the stuff we've been through this year already, we did not need a Category 3 hurricane or higher going up the Houston ship channel. Season's not over yet, but at least this doesn't look like it's going to be it. What's the odds that it could shift back to the west? It's not what we call a non-zero chance, but it's probably not going to happen. Highly unlikely that you get a major shift outside of the cone of uncertainty here and it goes in like that. It's just, luckily, that kind of stuff is very rare to happen, all right? So in Houston, Harris County and vicinity, breathing a big sigh of relief, as should all of the United States. I'm absolutely serious. That was very close. It's not over yet, and I don't want to jinx it, but whew, we were talking about it like the worst case scenario was on the table. I kid you not. So here's what it looks like. Tropical Tidbits giving this great satellite animation. Tremendous outflow. This is not the healthiest hurricane ever, but it's getting there. And it's going to pass over much warmer water temperatures on its way in to tomorrow. I say much warmer. The amount of energy is a lot higher overall. In fact, let me just pull that up real quick. Go to my site. I've got this linked on HurricaneTrack.com's homepage. These are the sea surface temperatures. Boy, look at the number that Marco did knocking down those sea surface temperatures. But even these blues and purples up here, still 28 Celsius and higher, 82. Wow. But this right here, let me zoom in on it. This worries me big time. That one little area right there, that's where Laura's going to pass over right before landfall. And the water temperatures in here are at least 30 degrees Celsius, if not higher, 30 and a half. There's some orange in there. So probably really close, 30 and a half, maybe 30.7. And that's getting it. That's very, very warm, 85, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. Wow. Oh, not going to be pleasant tomorrow night. All right, so we've been covering it through our Hurricane Track Insider site, thanks to our crowdfunding through Patreon. The Patreon stuff is reached through HurricaneTrack.com on the homepage. You click this, you go to our Patreon site, and you can sign up, become a supporter, and you have access to all of what we're doing through the Hurricane Track Insider site. All right? Right here. You have tracking tools, live video, etc., our chat with all these wonderful people. That's what it's all about, including this amazing tracking map that is what I call the super map. It's the super tracking map, coded up by a great team effort by several of our crowdfunding partners. And let me just kind of show you what it does. I know you've probably seen this before, but it's got our cameras on there. We've set up several of them. There they are. You can zoom in here. Really, really cool to do. You can use the mouse wheel actually and do it. This is Grand Isle in Louisiana. Hopefully it'll work. Oh, hey there's the moon. You can turn the sound on. This is going to be interesting to watch tomorrow. If you've signed up on Patreon through our Hurricane Track Insider Connection, check that out tomorrow. That'll be really interesting. Sort of the first line there of defense. We're actually going to set up some cameras over here tomorrow too. I was kind of thrown off by the idea that it could impact Houston directly, but I don't think that's going to happen now. Anyway, this is what this all looks like. You can zoom down. This is over in Johnson's Bayou, or is it Johnson Bayou? I'll look it up, make sure I've got it right. You know, kind of dark and spooky tonight. We'll see what it looks like. You know, not much going on, no wind or anything. We'll monitor that tomorrow night. The power's going to go out, though. That's a problem. It's like, ugh. I have not added Port Arthur. I do have Port Arthur on here. We do have 2 cameras right over here in Port Arthur. I'll add those. Our camera over here in Holly Beach pooped out. Yeah, we got to go see what happened to that. A gremlin or something. We'll go check it out tomorrow to make sure that's back online. But then we do have a camera over here in Cameron, Louisiana. And this will be really fascinating to watch as well. All right, so that's what we're doing. We also have a weather station. That's what this looks like here. And wind is not too bad right now, 5 gusting to 8. Something's goofy with our pressure sensor. We got to go back and check that. It's always something, isn't it? If we can't get this to update live, we'll stick one of our drop pressure sensors in there and make sure we nail that pressure one way or another. We got it covered. We do. We got it covered. So you have access to all of this, including the chat right here. So check it out. HurricaneTrack.com. The crowdfunding is what's making this happen. We appreciate everybody's support. Wow. And it's just going to get bigger from here. We'll be able to cover winter storms, flood events, severe weather on the Great Plains in a completely different way, immersive, educational, all of that. Even this graphic here, produced by one of our great partners that I've never met. She's brand new. Her name is Kari from the UK. A wonderful group of people helping to make all this happen. So tomorrow, this is it. We're going to have a little bit more work to do, set everything up, finish it all. I will tweet as much as I can. We'll have the live 360 cam running on YouTube tomorrow. Free for everybody to watch. Absolutely free on our YouTube public channel because of the support we get through Patreon. And, you know, I'm humbled. So I'm going to be done being humbled for now and get some sleep in a little while. I got a little bit more work to do to prepare some equipment. But as it says there, Laura strengthening in the Gulf. It is time. We have to be ready. That landfall is now 24 to 30 hours away. All right, that is it for me. I'm going to finish up, post this, and get to work on some last-minute preps, get a few hours of sleep, and hit the road again tomorrow back into Louisiana and really nail this. Even if it's going to be at night, we're going to do a great job for you to cover it. All right? All right. Have a good night yourselves. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. Thanks for watching. I'll have more for you tomorrow.